What's up, guys? Welcome back to the THB Strength Podcast. My name is John. I coach many of the highest jumpers in the world, like Isaiah Rivera, Tony Crosby, Donovan Hawkins, Dillan McCarthy. List goes on and on. Really good at it. And this is Isaiah Rivera. He has a 50.5-inch vertical leap, hopefully soon to re-break and reacquire the world record vertical leap. We just got to get him healthy and get through a couple more cycles, and I think we've got a pretty good chance. Before we get into this podcast, I want to remind you guys that if you're interested in coaching with us, go to thbstrength.com. And you can get 6 months of coaching free when you purchase a 6-month package. So check that out on the website. The link is in the description. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about muscle pulls because this is something that I deal with a lot. It's at the forefront of my mind because I've been studying a lot. So I figured it would be a good time. And while I do that, let's show you briefly something that we actually have on the website, our school community. So when you sign up for coaching, you get access to school. A lot of people don't use it, but there is an entire guide. Isaiah, if you want to click the injuries section here.
Bam, shabam.
Yeah, and I go through
look at that. We're already on muscle pulls right here.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of stuff in there.
We got PFP, tendon guided session, sign behind.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff. We're not going to overwhelm you guys, but if you're interested in that, you should go check it out if you're one of our athletes. So first, let's talk about what exactly happens or why mechanistically. I've got a pretty good list here. When you pull a muscle, why does it happen? So first one is going to be the fascicles are over lengthening. So the fascicles are the contractile unit of the muscle, and essentially they detach and reattach through cross bridging. And if you can't generate force at these lengthened positions, or you go too far, then you'll have a muscle strain. So there's 3 strains. There's like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. Grade 3 is like a full rupture. Grade 2 is partial. Grade 1 is like pretty small. Most times we deal with guys that have the first one. We don't usually get guys that have maybe sometimes grade 2. I don't think we've had anyone have a grade 3 strain. Knock on wood, fingers crossed. All right. The next reason why is if you lengthen very fast a muscle and you lack eccentric force generating capabilities. So this could be the peak tension. It could be the rate that you generate the tension. And that brings me to the other one is it's the timing. So you might have really good eccentric force generating capabilities, but if you don't generate that force at the right time, then the tension isn't in the muscle. So it is also in some ways related to the coordination. And we know that if you want to get more coordinated, you have to do the thing that you want to get better at. Another reason why is if the muscle is going to maybe potentially pick up some of the force that the tendon should be absorbing. So maybe the tendon wasn't compliant or wasn't ready to be stretched at the right time. And then you have some issues. Another big reason why is if you're not warm. So if you don't have the, correct warm up and your really passive stiffness is really, really high, you're not very compliant, then, you have a higher risk of potentially having the rapid lengthening cause the muscle to get some micro failure, if you will. Some other ones that you could potentially cause this is poor distribution of load across those fibers. So if you move really bad, or you've got one side of the muscle that maybe is worse, like in my case, my biceps femoris is really good. My semitendinosus and my metanosis is really bad. Probably why I do a lot of RDLs, and that's going to load that tissue more. And then, another way that you can do it is if you hit the end range when you're not warmed up enough. So, if I went down and try to touch my toes as fast as I possibly can, there's a risk that I'm going to have failure at the fascicle and I'm going to pull the muscle. Then there's like some positioning stuff specifically with the hamstring. So if you're in the wrong position, like if you're sprinting and you're anteriorly tilted, that's bad. That's going to put the hamstring, it's going to lengthen the fascicles and you're going to be at a higher risk. So now let's kind of get into how to address some of these issues. And so as you guys know, I've probably pulled my hamstring more than I'd like to admit. And it's not for not knowing, it's more so for a lack of being disciplined. And so one of the things that I think with the hamstring can work really well is first you got to figure out how bad it is, right? Typically, like I said, it's going to be like grade 1. I think when you first get that pull, typically back off, almost initially. And it's not too dissimilar from what you do with a tendon, honestly. So try to reintegrate isometrics strength because there's no change in length. There's no, the fascicle is at the same length. You could even start at mid ranges and stuff like that. Can start to function to get blood flow to the tissue, which blood flow is helpful for muscles. We know that they do have blood flow, and that can be, very advantageous. Once you can kind of get through that stage and you've got minimal pain, I think it's really important to build like isotonic strength. So you're doing full range of motion activities, maybe slow on the eccentric forces, and then progressively increase the loading and velocity as you go along. So for example, I might start with single leg hip thrust for the hamstring, then I go single leg bridge for my hamstring, and I would do that every day, 3 sets of like 30 seconds. Then I'm going to build in loading every 48 to 72 hours. And I think this is a big mistake people make, is they don't give the tissue enough time to repair. They don't give it enough time to recover. Like it's possible yesterday when I jumped, I felt like a tiny little snake bite. It's probably not like a full out grade 1, but I definitely aggravated the tissue and it's still recovering. It's in this process of remodeling. So I have to be very careful because I'm really susceptible to pulling it again. So as we said, you stretch those sarcomeres, those fascicles too quickly, they can't detach and reattach, and maybe the motor control's messed up, you're going to pull it. So you need to reacquire the motor patterning, and then you also need to reacquire the strength to be able to do that, specifically in eccentric conditions. And this is part of the reason why guys like Nordic hamstring curls so much, because the eccentric forces on that is really, really high. And ideally, you're actually getting accentuated eccentrics, which is why when guys can do reps of it, they're not actually achieving the goal of the Nordic hamstring curl. If you're doing reps of it, that means you're not getting an eccentric overload, which means you're not lengthening the fascicles, which means you're not really preventing yourself from running into hamstring issues. It means you're probably pretty strong eccentrically, but you might not be getting the adaptations that we want. And so this is also why I like the falling Nordics, because falling Nordics, you actually have velocity involved too. But back to what I was saying. So let's say you start to increase, RDL, and then maybe you're bleeding in some hip or knee flexion stuff. And then you're doing that every other day, pretty low doses. This is where a lot of people go wrong, is that they don't build into the elastic activity slowly. I think that a lot of people are too overzealous with this, and then they end up re-injuring themselves. And this is what I fall into a lot, because you have to be patient with muscles. You have to give them time to adapt. And as you get older, it's so much slower. Like when I was younger, I could probably pull it, and like by the end of the week, I was good. I could pretty much max ever jump. But as I've gotten older and I've accumulated more strains, I'm at a higher risk already because I'm older. And then also it's going to take longer for that tissue to recover and kind of repair. Things I don't think really work well, like say, what are some BS stuff? Because I've been yapping, but what's some BS stuff that you think is just like, yeah, this is kind of bullshit?
I don't know a lot of BS because I'm coached by you.
That's true, but
I don't feed that bad information into my brain.
Like,
no,
yeah, go ahead. You have some ideas.
I can't really think of BS things. But mistakes I've made were going too heavy too soon in the weight room. That's one of them. Rushing the elastic work similarly to what you did. And time, like you have to understand, and this is with most any injury, like you have to give it time. So finding something like that you can distract yourself with in the weight room. We've mentioned this before in the podcast, but shifting goals, maybe that's getting, if you have a quad pull, maybe that's getting your RDL strong, or if you have a hamstring pulled, freaking get your calf raised otherworldly or something.
Or your squat in my case.
Yeah, doing upper body work, that sort of thing. And what's helped me is finding an elastic activity that where I can still have fun and not worry about, because building in jumps is boring. It's boring as hell. So if that means you can, go play catch or something like that, or go play a game of for me it was basketball. That's always helped with rehab.
That's a good idea. Why didn't I do that?
Another thing, it's not a tendon, I always messed up essentially treating it like a tendon, where a tendon, like a 3 out of 10 pain might be fine. I have found generally just staying completely away from pain, basically doing the most intense thing I can do without feeling the grabbing sensation, never steered me wrong. Anytime I've delayed my recovery is because I keep getting that grabbing sensation, but I found if I avoid it, it can get healthy pretty quickly.
I've noticed that as well, for sure. And I think there's actually some research out there that says doing nothing is the same as doing something. The problem is, in terms of recovery timelines, it's not necessarily faster. What happens is your readiness is better. So you're more equipped to not re-injure it, is more so why you're training it. It's not going to help it recover faster, but what you can do is make it recover slower if you push too hard. And I think a lot of people make that mistake. And I myself do. I love to train. It's my favorite thing in the world.
And when in doubt, don't do it.
Yeah.
I think both you and Donovan asked me, should I do XYZ this week? And I had just done the session, so I kept doing it as a joke, but it ended up being true. I was just like, don't be like me. Like, I was like doing a funny, like, don't do it. Trust me. Don't give in to your impulses.
Hearing that now, I feel really dumb. I'm like, oh, I should.
Why coaches need coaches?
Even I know, but
need coaches.
Yeah, but you, every time I get you to coach me, it's just let me do what I want.
Yeah, no, it's like, all jokes aside, when in doubt, don't do it. Like, I've regretted jumping when I wasn't supposed to many times. I've never regretted doing the same thing ever. If anything, not even regret. It's not even close to regret. I'm like happy. Like, I go in, get after it in the weight room, keep a session short. Like, I'm on cloud 9. But it's crazy because, like, it's such a, jumping is so fun, and like, but you know you shouldn't do it. And then the amount of time, it's like a 70% chance I see, not just from you, John, it's like all the guys, dunk depression gets us all.
It did. I got you last week.
And there's a 70% chance, maybe higher, of like, it was like, that session was smaller percentage is like bad, like some catastrophic happens or something. But
yeah, I didn't tear my Achilles. I think that used to be a legitimate fear of mine. So I'd say it's really a dub, honestly.
Oh, more advice. Just get through day one. Day one always sucks. Day 2 sometimes kind of shitty too. By day 3, you can usually start feeling better. Like, you can do things that you weren't doing in day 1, and that has a lot of psychological benefits. There was actually, I think there was like a psychology study where they were interviewing, I think it was amputees, either that or like quadriplegics. And what was interesting is that their subjective well-being went back to baseline. I think it was amputees, because I don't think you can guess when someone's going to be a quadriplegic. But their subjective level of well-being went to baseline really shortly after the amputation. So, like, how happy you generally feel before getting amputated, and then like a month later, you're about the same.
That's interesting.
And it's the same anytime because I've gone through some pretty catastrophic injuries where it derails me for a few months. And really quickly, first couple of days are bad, but as soon as you start making progress, like, oh, knee feels way better today. Oh, the muscle I tore, the tendon I tore feels way better than it did last week. Like, you look forward to training, and it's always fun making progress. So
yeah. I just don't want to get fat. But also, Dom gets back next week, so my series will recontinue because I have another.
He's back. The prodigal son returns. Prodigal son, bust his ass 1-on-1.
Yeah, that's right. 8 days. 8 days. He's back. So
I'm not gonna let you beat me.
It's not gonna happen in pole or basketball.
Basketball.
Okay, I was gonna say, because he does beat you in pole.
Well, my technique. I found my new technique.
Yeah,
I look at the ball. I look at the ball now instead of the cue ball. I look at the object.
I know. I've gotten way better. I just so everyone knows, I beat Isaiah in a game of pool.
But I coached him.
He did, but and he stopped coaching me because he knew it was too close for comfort. And I beat him, and it's probably my greatest accolade to this day.
Actually, I'm curious. Leave a comment. Do you guys like when we talk about random stuff, or do you want us to keep it strictly jump training?
Yeah, I would actually really like to know that too, because there's so many times I could just talk about my relationship woes on the podcast.
Actually,
be super
let's
like
do this. I don't care what they say. Everybody, next podcast we do is not going to be jump training related. We're going to answer all your non-jump training related questions.
Oh yeah,
This will be a brand building podcast, so you guys can feel
Yeah.
close to us as people, and we're not just jump yappers. We're just yappers in general.
Yeah, we like to talk about life. And I told Isaiah the other day, I was like, we were on our way to go play pool. And I was like, sometimes I just want to get on the podcast, hop on the horn and just say some out of pocket stuff about my life and, kind of and see what you guys think. It was funny the other day. I liked the reel that was like personal. And one of you guys that was listening, like commented was like, buddy's going through it. And I was like, and Isaiah was like, yeah, my brother saw the same thing. And I was like, ooh. So if you like that stuff, let us know. But yeah, that's the podcast, guys. Back to jump training. If you want to jump higher, you want to be a better athlete and you want to not make the same mistakes I do, because I'll coach you not to make the same mistakes I do, because Isaiah isn't coaching me right now. Go to thbstrength.com.
6 months free. Buy the year package. Coaching, if you pay month to month, it's $1,800 a month. Get the year.
$1,800 a year.
A year. Yeah, $1,800 a month would be crazy.
That's 2020 vibes. 2021.
That's John.
Vibes.
That's one-on-one coaching by John prices. But yeah, it's $1,800 for a year if you pay month to month. You can get the year, pay $900. That's the same thing as getting 6 months completely for free. We highly suggest you do that, because if you invest in yourself, you're more likely to do the training. If you do the training, you're gonna get better. So go sign up.
All right. See you guys.